Fear and complacency gripped me. I always was super ambitious, but also lazy. You know what I mean? I had these big dreams and big ambitions, and I wanted to grow overall. But like I said, I had no course of direction. Also, recently, literally the other day, I signed a pool cleaner in his company. He's looking to scale and grow. So just in that time, once getting the systems put in place and just cranking out outreach, doing calls and doing messages, I was able to see growth.
How about you give the people a quick intro, just kind of your backstory, bro, just a bit
Mhm.
about you.
Yeah, definitely. My name is Julian. I'm the founder of Livingstone Growth, which is my agency. With that being said, roughly, I think it was about 2 months now, coming up on 2 months, um, working a full-time job, literally day in, day out, 45 hours a week, maintaining that balance while also trying to grow overall as just a young man. And I was experimenting. I was like in the agency space, wanted to do real estate, wanted to, all that kind of stuff going into business as a whole, and could never really land on anything. Of course, bought courses, Iman Ghatzi and all those guys in the space bought courses and all that kind of stuff, but it was all kind of just theory and like puzzles. They don't really give you like a full picture, um, nor the clarity, I would say. So just kind of had a loss of direction in what I wanted to do, but I knew, excuse me, I knew that I wanted to like go the distance and actually create something of my own. So I took the leap of faith and ended up starting up an actual agency, but once again, just didn't have all the moving parts nor understood like the full process. And I started coming across your videos and I started just vetting because I knew I wanted more or less of a mentorship. So I broke down into that, did my research because I'm not just going to go in out of nowhere on somebody I don't know, but aligned with your morals, your values, who you were. You provided really good value just off of your organic content. So I was like, why not? Ended up hopping on a call, and then after that, um, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go full scale. I was like, I'm just gonna jump off the boat. So I ended up just jumping off and leaving my full-time job and committing to the mentorship and committing to my agency. So.
Yeah, bro, and that's something I feel like there was a ton of alignment that initial call we had. I was like,
Mhm.
bro, this guy reminds me of myself a ton, which that's a huge part. And I forget, Julian, how long before we started working together did you have the agency? Like, were you actually running it?
Yeah, so I was in the works, like putting all the time and energy, setting up the LLC, getting all the back end stuff set up, like my Go High level and all that kind of stuff. I invested in another course that they were some other guys, but once again, just wasn't the clarity. I did obviously get some value from it, obviously, but I try to pull value anywhere. But um, I mean, it was probably like 4 months, yeah, 4 months I was in it, and then actually started to take it seriously by like month 4 or 5, literally.
Okay. In those first 4 months, I mean,
Hmm.
because when you started working with me, you didn't have any clients or anything. Like you were at ground
Hmm.
zero. What'd you do in those 4 months?
Yeah, all the the non needle pushing stuff, literally like focusing on web design and doing a landing page and doing logos and all that kind of stuff. I was doing outreach and I was doing like personal outreach, but I didn't have the system set up. The A2P process. They're like all like the nitty gritty stuff because it's not just the model itself isn't super sexy, right? It's pretty simple. It's pretty straightforward and it can be um overcomplicated very fast. And I overcomplicated it in those 4 months.
Yeah, so I was gonna say because that's something,
Yeah.
dude. Even when I started, I remember I was doing all the websites, the logos, making pitch
Mhm.
decks, like doing all this stuff. And I guess for you, what was the biggest like? Did you feel like you were being like productive, or why do you feel like you weren't able to get clients in that 4 months? Like, were you just working on the wrong things? Like, what would you say?
Yeah, I mean, you got to have a why, right? I really didn't necessarily have a why, or, they say if you enjoy what you do, you'll never work a day in your life. And I had the managing actually what I wanted to do, trying to find out my why, and also maintaining the full-time job. So in and through that, after hours, I had no idea what I was doing, and never cold called before, never did any kind of stuff like that. So, fear and nervousness obviously takes over because you have to like switch your mindset of like, hey, I'm actually providing value. You know what I mean? I'm not annoying these people or getting them upset. Obviously, they have 15 to 20 million of these, people calling them a day, and some of them are scammers and stuff. But I just had to change my mindset. Once I started changing my mindset during that initial couple months, that's when things really shifted.
And I guess what made you, because you were running it 4 months, you
hmm
jumped on 2 months ago. Well, I
hmm
mean, what was at the point? You mentioned you were looking for a mentor. I mean, why even
hmm
like look in the first place? What made you like feel like, all right, like I need to join, like I need to do something else.
Right, because I knew like if a guy like you could do it, or people around me that I know even within my own like circle can do it, I can do it. You know what I mean? So I had to take time and really vet you and vet people in this space to be like, okay, is this guy actually going to be able to be honest and genuine and provide actual value that's going to like push the needle forward? And I think a lot of it obviously boils down to your character. I mean, I think that's the answer, just your character. I just was like, all right, I'm just gonna go with it.
I appreciate that, bro. I
Mm-hmm.
guess for you then, I guess what was then before you even like were looking to vet
Mm-hmm.
someone? What was
Mm-hmm.
the point where you were like, I need a mentor, need someone to help me out,
Right.
even
Okay,
besides just
gotcha.
going and doing it
Yeah,
yourself?
yeah, yeah. My bad. No,
No,
iron
you're good.
sharpens iron. You know what I mean? Like you need a group of people that are around you, like brothers that you can hold accountable, and to really lift you up and to be there. Because shoot, if you do it by yourself, bro, you're gonna be running in circles. So that's why I went out of my way. I knew that I needed the clarity and that kind of mentor to be able to walk with me instead of like doing it in my own strength, if that makes sense.
Yeah, 100%. Like speeding up the
Yeah.
process, basically.
Exactly. Yeah, I knew
Okay.
that I could get the results that I wanted to, and like we have within freaking less than 2 to 3 months. I knew once like it clicked for me, I would just be like full go mode, basically. So I was like, you know what,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna take the risk.
So give us how have the last 2 months been since because you
hmm
joined, we are pretty much like starting from scratch basically. Like
hmm
from complete baseline. You had the
Yeah.
LLC, but we pretty much started from scratch. So how
hmm
what's been like your agency like over the past 2 months? Like numbers, like stuff like that. Where are you at with everything?
Yeah, absolutely. In the beginning, it was very hard for me to get the understanding of like, okay, how am I going to even get across to these people if I have no proof of concept, if I have no case studies, if I have no testimonials? And you sat down with me and you went over inputs, and it gave me a better perspective on what needs to be done. Because if small wins compound. I have that on my whiteboard. And if you put in the inputs, you're going to receive the outputs. So I started putting in the inputs and I received the outputs. We built those systems, made sure it made sense, split tested, and now I was able to get two free trial clients on performance based to be able to start running ads for them. And then through like a personal connection of mine through networking, I was able to land a really good long-term relationship, which we briefly spoke on. Um, and then also recently, literally the other day, I signed a pool cleaner in his company. He's looking to scale and grow. So just in that time, once getting the systems put in place and just cranking out outreach, doing calls and doing messages, I was able to see growth.
So already so 4 clients the past 2 months. And do you mind
hmm
sharing the you don't have to go super specific into all of it, but like the kind of like a broad picture of the numbers of like what those clients look like in terms of like ticket price. I know you have those two
Yeah.
trials, and the other
hmm
two are pretty high ticket.
Yeah, so the first guy is $2,000 a month retainer and then commission based off of his leads. So I'm going in and just doing um, cold messages for his business and streamlining those operations behind the scenes for him so he can kind of have peace of mind without having to do outreach. I literally just go to him and be like, "Here, here's 10 qualified leads for you." And he's like, "All right, sweet." And gives them a call, and then it just goes from there. And then the other guy recently was $1,500 retainer with a performance-based fee as well. So,
Amazing, bro. So
mhm.
2 months, you did 4 months trying it, zero, and then now you're already doing you have 3,500 just reoccurring every single month plus performance based.
Yeah, literally just like that.
Amazing.
Crazy.
How does it feel? Because I know you had the job for a while. You just
Mhm.
recently kind of went all in on this. I mean, how does it feel like going from the job being on a salary to something like this? Like, because obviously it's not as like you don't have like that safety net of like I know I have a
Yeah.
salary. It's like what was a shift there, like a mindset shift if you had anything? Because there's a lot of
Yeah.
people are in the same exact situation.
hmm Yeah, absolutely. Fear and complacency gripped me. I always was super ambitious, but also lazy. You know what I mean? I had these big dreams and big ambitions, and I wanted to grow overall, but like I said, I had no course of direction, and I knew I wanted to do something different. So I was like, I just took the leap. Yeah, that's basically the gist. I just took the leap and I took the untraditional path. You know how many people I had be like, dude, that's stupid. You're not gonna succeed. You need to make
Hmm.
sure, dude, don't quit your job, get money. Like you need to make sure that you can take care of yourself. You need to make sure you need to do this. And my advice would just be like, dude, the untraditional path, I mean, just take the leap of faith, trust in yourself. Anything you put your mind to, you can accomplish it. You can do it. I'm literally seeing it firsthand. Like being able to do something I actually enjoy, which is talk to people, do sales, and actually provide a good service. I think when you put the money aside and you actually focus on value, like I said, like focusing when I changed my mindset versus the money aspect of it, instead of like providing value and like building long-term partnerships, like friendships with these people, I only work with people that I actually like. You know what I mean? Or not necessarily that I actually like, but you get what I'm saying. Like actually working with people where it makes sense and it's overall if it's a good fit. Like if the sale happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. My life doesn't change either way.
Like detaching from the outcome, you're saying basically.
Exactly. Yeah, detached from the outcome. I mean, you've provided very good value when it comes to sales and being like pretty like straightforward, just being like, hey, like if it happens, it happens. It doesn't, it doesn't. Don't be like
Yeah.
emotionally driven.
Because when you focus on the money doesn't come, and when you
Yep.
stop focusing on the money, all of a sudden the money starts coming in. Which these
Yeah.
past couple weeks, I mean, you're on a really good streak. I feel like you've
Mhm.
signed a client every single week the last like 3 weeks.
Yeah, just about, yeah. And then there's people obviously I need to reach back out to my pipeline, people that want me to, circle back around and follow up. I mean, just being true, genuine, and honest, I think people just appreciate that more than the traditional way of things and how things is like nowadays. People just appreciate honesty.
100%. I guess what would you say then, just being like working together, right? I mean,
Mhm.
what would you say has been the biggest? You mentioned like the sales kind of detaching from the
Yeah.
outcome. Has there been any other like shifts for you in terms of, because before you mentioned you don't have the systems, or you
Yeah.
mentioned focusing on the inputs instead of outputs. I guess
Mhm.
what's the other like main like tweaks that you've made that's kind of propelled you to do this and someone watching this could get value from right now?
For sure. Yeah, good question. Hmm. Um,
Put you on the spot there.
yeah, yeah, you honestly did. Yeah. I mean, the snapshot you provide, I don't know if that's sensitive information, but the snapshot you provide is pretty straightforward. Being able to have the clarity there and having the actual resources, the community that is like we get plugged into is great. Um, I'm not as active as I probably should be, but no, the community in there is great. You're very timely when it comes to answering, and the actual calls are value based as well. It's not really conditional. Everybody's in there is pretty straightforward when it comes to providing the actual value. It just seems like, everybody's willing to help. So it's nice to be in like, hey, I have this question. And sometimes when you get in those places, like nobody answers you. You know what I mean? Or like
Hmm.
nobody answers you. If you're doing well, then people answer you or whatever. You know what I mean? It's like everybody starts out in this position. Like you start out where you have nothing and like you need a guy that has it all and that has actually done it before to be able to like come down and like resonate with you. You know what I
For sure. Yeah. And I mean, even though you're not as active as we sometimes talk about you should
mean?
be, like you're still like all that matters is like some guys are different. Like you're the type of guy you're gonna ask a question, you have a question, you get a response, and you're gonna take action on it. And it's like,
Yeah,
oh, a couple days later, it's like, oh, I just signed another client, $1,500. So it's like, oh, okay. What next? And it's just like it
yeah,
keeps going from there, right?
for sure.
What's I guess for you, bro, what's the goal? Like what's kind
Mhm.
of the next steps with the agency? Yeah, like what's next for you?
Yeah, absolutely. I want to get more consistent and actually delegate some of the tasks, like get an appointment setter. and stuff like that here within the next at least probably like 2 months or so. But consistently getting 2 to 3 clients a month is the goal, just being conservative. But overall, the goal is to just be able to impact young men um, in the space. Being a Christian entrepreneur is not very common, and being able to provide value in many different areas with the business model and step out into organic content and providing value there. That's the goal long term, is to be able to steward my wealth to be able to help others around me. So
Amazing,
that's
bro.
where it
Yeah,
is.
I mean, we're
Yeah,
super
man.
aligned there. I think that's part of the reason that it's been such a good dynamic. And that's even when hiring, right? As you bring on appointments that we talk about
Mhm.
next steps, the culture fit is so important with
Oh,
hiring
absolutely.
as you're gonna go and find. So we'll talk more
Hmm.
about that. But I
Yeah.
think for sure next steps just for you focusing on the inputs, keep doing what you're doing, building
Hmm.
systems, and then just getting your clients amazing results because you're on a good performance based model too. It's like you get them results, you make more money, and
That's
then you just
right.
keep repeating that over and over.
For sure, bro. Absolutely.
Cool. Well, Julian, I appreciate your time, bro. I mean, anything else you want to say? Otherwise, I think that's everything on my end, bro. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man. No, I definitely would say, I mean, the inputs that you got to put in each and every day, just show up, and it compounds all those limiting beliefs and everything. I just throw them out the window. Surround yourself with a good group of brothers that can lift you up and help you out throughout the process, and just lock in. Make sure you take care of yourself. Your hygiene, your diet is so vital, especially when you're a business owner. Is so important. I think people sleep on that a lot. Even I myself, I'm not perfect when it comes to it, but making yourself presentable, your tonality is so important. Especially being a young man, a lot of times I just felt extremely looked down upon, especially by like older guys. You get intimidated and stuff like that, but as you do it, you become more confident, and you bring that clarity, and you actually just build more trust within yourself, and you're just like, yeah, dude, you know what, I can actually go and crush this. You know what I mean? Like, this is actually something that's doable. It's so doable. You know what I mean? It's been replicated thousands and thousands of times. You know what I mean? But like Alex Hermosi talks about the woman in the red dress. I would just like I would stick with it. Don't get caught on like multiple different things at once. Just stick with pick a niche, go with it, roll with the business model. That's just what I did. I just put all the other things aside because it's so easy to get shiny object syndrome nowadays, bro. It's just crazy.
Yeah, bro. Just rolling with the punches. That's one thing
For
you do really
sure.
well. I'm excited to see where you go with these next couple months, bro. It's gonna be
Appreciate it,
exciting.
bro. Yeah, man, I'm excited to grow overall, bro, and to scale and turn this into something that's really beneficial for others, bro. So,
Amazing. It's what it's about. Well, I appreciate your time, Julian.
yes,
I'll chat
sir.
with you soon, bro. And let's crush it.
Deuces.
Let's do it, man.